What's up, everyone? This is the Next Take podcast with Mikel
And Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So, on today's episode, we'll be sprinkling free topics today. So, that means anything goes, anything comes to mind, and with this episode. So, who wants to start? So, do you want to start, Tanyka, or
Yeah, sure, I can start.
yeah?
So just a quick one for me here starting off. Um, so Ontario Lottery
Mm.
Agency is going to be limiting the winners' names and releases, citing privacy concerns. My question is why hasn't it taken this long to realize the safety concerns in releasing people's names when they win lotteries? I'm just saying. We've
Releasing
had
people's
way
names when
too many cases of people being either hurt or worse when names are being released because they're
Oh.
trying to get access
I heard
to the
about this. So
money.
like they're releasing they're just their first names only. If
Yeah,
that's
so
the case.
I'll read as quickly here just to be sure we're getting all
Yes.
the info. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Ontario's lottery agency says it has begun limiting how it identifies winners in public releases, using only first names and last initials in an effort to better protect privacy while maintaining transparency. I think this is
Yeah.
perfect. This is what needs to
Yeah.
happen.
Long
This
overdue.
is what should have been happening.
Yeah, because your coworkers and your friends would be like, or some stranger would be like,
Exactly.
pass the message on or whatever,
Exactly.
or
That's the
find you in the.
problem.
I don't know if there's such thing as the yellow page anymore. I don't think the yellow
Oof.
page exists
No,
anymore.
no.
Someone can
Gather
easily
round,
find him.
children, for those who don't know what the yellow pages are.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the yellow page. Yeah,
The
I remember
yellow
those
pages and the
books.
white pages. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that used to be attached to the what do you call it those phone booths as well. So
Yeah,
you
but
get to
you would
find a note.
also get phone books like delivered to
You
your
can see.
home.
Oh yeah, that too. And
Yeah.
I can't be those types of books are dangerous. Like
Oh, yeah.
everybody's like numbers, and
But it's no
you
different
know
than doing a search online. It's just it was in a book.
I mean
You can
10,
still do searches online as long as
10? Oh, yeah, okay, that's right. Oh
if
yeah,
you're
yeah,
listed.
that's right, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless
that's
you're
true. Yeah,
unlisted,
yeah.
you similar to the phone book, if you try to search someone who's unlisted,
Mhm,
you're not gonna find them. It's no different. It's just now it's
mhm,
basically digitized. That's it,
mhm.
right? Because
Okay.
they don't do phone books anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but here's the caveat.
Mhm,
So the person who's in charge here of this, his name is he's a spokesperson. His name is Tony Batoni. Tony Batoni. Anyways, he says that full names of winners are still going to be published on a list on the agency's website that
mm,
includes prize amounts and in which community and business establishment the person bought their winning ticket, ensuring public accountability. But
mm.
then my question is, where is where's the protection? Because I personally don't think that that needs to be. I don't think that I don't think that needs to be public knowledge. I think that's something you, as Ontario Lottery, needs
Yeah,
to know so you can make sure you're doing your due diligence. But that
yeah.
doesn't need to be public knowledge.
So the location, that's what it said? The location
The
and the
location of where they bought the lottery ticket. Because like the establishment of which you get the lottery ticket
mhm,
gets some part of the winnings as well. Like I don't know how it works, but I think they do get some part of the
mhm.
winnings. So that yeah. So they'll have all
I
the
don't think
information.
that's a I don't think that's a bad it's not a safety issue, is it? It's only a safety
No, the
issue if someone
establishment is not
robs.
the issue.
Yeah.
It's the fact that online and they're on their online website, they're still posting the person's full name who won the lottery ticket. That's still there. So even though they're
Oh,
publicly saying that they're only going to announce the first name and last initial of the person who won. If you go onto their website, you can still see the person's full name.
Mm.
And there
So,
is still a danger in even saying where they got the lottery ticket, but that's the risk you need to take. Um, but still, like, you're not protecting the person who won by putting
I
that
mean, that's like
out
for
there.
me, that's for the establishment where you got ticket, that's like a level 1 risk.
Yes, but there's still there's a risk of so, the
Right.
reason why I say there's a risk there
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
not in Ontario, but there was a case where a person had won the lottery. He was very generous in his
yeah,
community,
yeah,
um, before
yeah.
winning the lottery, and a
Uh-huh.
person took complete advantage of him, um, killed him, and they basically, in a sense, impersonated them because they knew where he got the ticket and all that, so, like,
Mhm,
there is a risk of that for sure, but that's a
mhm.
risk you have to take, but you could at least be protecting the person who won the ticket in the first place by not
Yeah,
even putting that
but
information
yeah,
out there.
yeah, their information on there, yeah, because somebody
It's
could just go
stupid.
to easily go to their house and just basically rob the ticket or, rob anything in their house or whatever, or unsafe situations could happen. But yeah, yeah, I understand that. I just like the establishment is like, hmm, like when you go to when a robber goes into that establishment, be like,
No, they're not gonna
who
get
who
anything from the
who
winning. They're not gonna
Damon
get
won
any.
last week. Who's Damon here? And like which and the store owner's like, there's lots of Damons that came here. I can't tell you. So, like, that's how I look at it, but you may be thinking it differently. So like,
Yeah, no, I think of it
yeah,
about the safety.
yeah.
There's safety issues all around, but
Mhm.
yeah, but again, like, but Tony, he
Mm.
says that transparency remains essential to maintain public trust and deter concerns about corruption, noting that the agency has disclosed winner information since its inception in
Yeah,
1975, which I get, but
yeah.
again,
It's not 1975.
it's not 1975
Yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
mean, hell, even 1975, you had to kinda be careful, but,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
uh, it's not this is different times,
yeah. I
and
want
criminals have gotten way more,
Mhm,
smarter in, like,
mhm,
what they will do in order
mhm,
to
mhm,
commit their crimes.
mhm.
It's just
Ha
different times, man, you
ha
everything
have
is out there.
have you heard of any situation that's happened since? Like any situation that like a robber has gotten to that close to a winner?
Um
Or
Well, that
like
particular case that I was just talking about
yeah,
was
yeah.
maybe only a decade ago. This wasn't in the States though, because they do the same thing. They disclose
Mm,
the information. All of them disclose the information of the winners.
right.
Um, but yeah, that was only like maybe a decade ago, maybe 20. But yeah, that's fairly recent. It's in
Mm,
comparison to, like,
mhm,
when these things have started. So,
right.
you know, it's still
Interesting.
too soon for comfort, right?
Hmm,
Because yeah, it and again, the difference of it disclosing a person's name back in 1975, even the 80s, even the 90s, you know, you had to go through, as you've just mentioned, the yellow pages and hope that the person you're finding in the yellow
mhm,
page matches the person of which won the ticket.
mhm,
Where
mhm,
now all you gotta do is put that person's name into a Google search and everything's popping up.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
And then add to the fact that if you're a person who, tells everybody your damn business online, they're
mhm,
gonna find you even more easily.
mhm,
So
mhm.
it's
Yeah,
it's not safe to be putting people's name. First of all, I don't think anyone should be saying I won the lottery.
mhm,
No, no, ain't no one need to know your business.
yeah,
But
mhm.
again,
So
like
can they put their real name or they can someone
they
put their
have to
fake
use their
name?
real name because you have to show
Mm,
proof that you can
mm,
even buy a lottery ticket. Because remember, you have to
right,
be 18 to
right.
to buy a lottery ticket, you have to prove that you're of age.
So
You can't be using a
you
fake
can't, you
ID.
can't, you can't do John Doe and just be like, well,
No,
okay,
no, no. You have to prove who you are when you're buying a lottery ticket. So, I mean,
uh,
me personally, like I've never bought a lottery ticket. I don't find the need to do so.
mhm.
Um,
um,
and again,
yeah,
like if I were to win the lottery, I have a very distinct name. People are going to know who the hell I am.
mhm,
Um, and um My brother, though, he has, not recently, last say maybe last, like, I think couple years back he did when he was in school, but, like, again,
mhm,
the chances of winning the lottery is slim, but
mhm,
people do. It happens. And 9 times out of 10, the people who are winning the lottery, though, I will say, are ones that are closest to the victim, to some extent. But again, they could even read online and be like, "Oh, look. My so and so, I know them, they won the lottery," and it's
mhm,
whatever. So,
mm,
anyways,
yeah, yeah. So it's sad because like the management is probably out of touch and not don't know any. I, I would like to think that they're uh not on the younger side in terms of like knowing what's happening on the internet. So you know yeah, that's my opinion.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's that one. Um, Very quick here, this is like another quick article here. Um, this is as of May 12th, so I'm not sure where we're at with this. Hopefully they found the people though, but we'll see. So 3 suspects are wanted in connection with an armed home invasion that happened in Ajax.
Uh-huh.
Federal Regional Police were called to a home in the area of Cranston Avenue and Carpendale Crescent just after 2:30 a.m. This was back again in May. The suspects allegedly with firearms broke into a home and stole electronics before assaulting the residents and fleeing the scene. The victims all suffered minor injuries. So anyone
Uh-huh.
who was in the area between 1:30 and 3 a.m. during that time. So this article is as of May 12th, so it would have been potentially around that time. So if anyone was in the area at that time of night, if you heard anything, if you saw anything, and you have any information, and of course with that, the police have asked for you to contact them. Um, and again, the suspect's descriptions have not been released. If they but maybe they have that information, but they're just not releasing it yet. Maybe they want to keep that close to the chest, which is normal.
Mhm.
But eventually, if I guess if they don't find them though, that could potentially be released. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Huh.
that's another quick one that I have there.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
do you have anything right now, or should I keep going?
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Um, so another one. This is again as of May. So a U.S. mayor has resigned and is pleading guilty to acting as an agent for China. So let's go through what happened here. This was in Los Angeles. So a Southern California mayor has agreed to plead guilty to acting as an illegal agent for the Chinese government. I want to preface she's Asian. I don't know if she's from China, but she is Asian and has
Mhm.
resigned from her city position. So Eileen Wang, the mayor of Arcadia, was charged in
Mhm.
April with one count of acting in the United States as an illegal agent of a foreign government. She was accused of doing the bidding of Chinese officials, such as sharing articles favorable to Beijing, without prior
Mhm.
notification to the U.S. government as required by law. The 58-year-old, I'm sorry, what? You need to see pictures of this woman. This
Mhm.
woman's 58 years old. She looks
Mhm.
good. I damn, it's not like Asian women don't age. Anyways, so
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
58 years old. She was elected in November 2022 to a 5-person city council from which the mayor is selected on a rotating basis. City manager Dominic Lazaretto said in a
Mhm,
news release that no city finances or staff were involved. Quote, "We want to be clear. This investigation concerns individual conduct, and the charges are for conduct that ceased after Ms. Wang was sworn into office in December 2022.
mhm,
Federal officials said she has agreed to plead guilty to the felony, which comes with a maximum sentence of 10 years in federal prison."
mhm,
That's huge. Wang's attorneys, Jason Liang and Brian's son, said in a statement that she recognizes the seriousness of the charge and accepts responsibility for past personal mistakes. Quote, "She apologizes and is sorry for the mistakes that she has made in her personal life," Wang's attorneys said in their statement. "Her love and devotion for the Arcadia community have not changed and did not waver."
mhm,
According to
mhm,
her plea agreement, Wang and a colleague, I think it's Yanning or Mike Sun, worked on behalf of government officials for the People's Republic of China from the end of 2020 to 2022 to promote their interests by promoting pro PRC propaganda in the US. Sun is serving a 4-year sentence after he pleaded guilty to the same charge in last October. He was also listed in campaign filings as the treasurer for Wang's 2022 election campaign.
mhm,
Wei and Sun operated the news website U.S. News Center aimed at the Chinese American community and were instructed by Chinese government officials to post pro PRC content on it. In one
mhm,
instance, in June 2021, a government official sent Wang a link to a letter to the editor published in the Los Angeles Times, written by the Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Los Angeles.
mhm,
The piece refuted reports of the persecution, forced labor, and abuse of I think it's Uyghurs in China's Xinjiang province, stating, quote, "There has never been genocide in Xinjiang or forced labor in the region's cotton fields or any other sector."
mhm,
Within minutes, Wang shared the link on her news site. The US and several other countries have declared that Beijing's policies against the Uyghurs amounted to genocide and crimes against humanity.
mhm,
At the time, Wang was engaged to Sun, attorney said. So she was engaged to the person who was sentenced in October for 4 years. She has said that relationship ended in spring of 2024. Their statement references, quote, "her trust and love for apparently the wrong person who ultimately led her astray."
mhm,
Wang has also communicated with John Chen, who also pleaded guilty to being an agent for the Chinese government and was sentenced to 20 months in prison.
mhm,
Wang is expected to appear in federal court. Um, she would have appeared in court, so we'll do an update to see where that happened, later
right,
on.
right,
Um, and she would be pleading guilty in the coming weeks. Arcadia is located roughly about 21 kilometers northeast of Los Angeles. The city of about 53,000 is majority Asian and has a high concentration of Chinese residents.
mhm,
So
mhm.
that's that one.
Okay, so I do have one, and just only one, basically. And if you guys haven't heard the news, look to your right, look to your left, look at the north. Kawhi Leonard's back, everybody.
Who?
Kawhi Leonard is back with the Toronto Raptors, and it's
Yeah.
going to be exciting for the next season, everybody. I cannot wait. So, anyways, basically, um, I'm going to be talking about this more details in the future. Uh, but yeah, basically, he's back. The Toronto Raptors basically traded for him. Just believe just last week. Um, for like I think they traded Brandon Ingram. They traded uh don't laugh at this player's last name, Grady
Okay.
Dick, and a couple of draft picks as well. So like it's detailed. It's in the details. And for the one player, which is Kawhi Leonard. So he is coming back to Toronto So if you don't know who Kawhi Leonard is, Tanika, the
Nope.
guy who shot that shot in 2018, 2019, that won the Toronto Raptors, that shot exceeded to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then beat that one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference that went to the finals, and then beat the best team, dynasty team, to win the NBA championship uh of the 2018-2019 season.
Mhm.
So, and he was one of the reasons why we won the team, even though our team was stacked as well. If you don't know the players, there was like Kyle Lowry. You, you know who Kyle Lowry is, right?
Nicole, really?
Yep. Okay, you don't. You do or no?
No.
Okay. Pascal Siakam,
You're really trying to make me no,
Mark
you're
Gasol,
talking to the wrong one.
Mark Gasol.
Nope, you're talking to the wrong one. Sports, you're talking to the wrong one. This is
um,
all over my head, where they're trying to
okay.
make me remember names.
Uh,
No.
yeah, there's OG Anunoby. Well, actually, he didn't
I
play
think
in
I
this.
know that name.
Oh, because
I
that was
think.
he was in the Knicks. He's on the Knicks now. Because like
Sure.
he was on the Raptors back then. He was originally drafted with the Raptors, right? And then they traded him to the Knicks during, I believe it was either the 2024, 25 season, I believe. If I'm wrong, Raptor fans. But yeah. So I'm gonna be talking more detail about it in the near future. With uh uh stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Yay, sports. Okay.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit, obviously, about the homeless encampments and stuff, but I think this one is. Let me just see where this is actually. I don't think this is in Durham region,
Hmm.
but this is a different encampment. So we'll talk about this a little bit. So some of the residents living in an encampment located at the corner of Weber and Victoria Streets in downtown Kitchener are breathing a
Hmm.
sigh of relief right now. Earlier that particular week, which this article is dated May 23rd, a Kitchener judge ruled the region of Waterloo will not be allowed to remove the residents at the encampment, saying a regional bylaw that would allow for their eviction violates residents' Charter of Rights. Quote, "It's a good feeling
Hmm.
for all of us around here," said Avery Francis, who has been living at the encampment for almost 3 years. In
Hmm.
his ruling, Justice Michael R. Gibson said the encampment is currently the only place in the region where people experiencing homelessness can legally set up a tent or structure, and that it acts as a refuge of last resort. The ruling elicited a strong response from Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who called it, quote, "the most ridiculous ruling I've ever seen." Fuck off. Like, where do you, okay, as much as I get it, where do you
Hmm.
want them to go? You're not helping them. Instead, you're helping foreigners come into the country, but you're not helping your own people to have homes. Where would you
Hmm.
like them to go? And at the end of the day, like, there's a huge homelessness population since COVID. Where would you like them to go? I'm always going to constantly ask that question. Where do you want them to go?
So, oh, sorry, I went off the phone. What? So, what is happening? What like
So,
what? What's,
so a judge basically ruled an encampment in Kitchener, no one can be um, as basically evicted from that area because it would go against those people's charter of rights. They are legally allowed to be in that area alone. Um,
uh-huh.
any new people coming in, that is the only place that they can go. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
now Doug Ford has come in and
Mm-hmm.
said that he thinks that this is the most ridiculous ruling he's ever seen. And this is where I come in and said, "But where do you want them to go?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a better solution, please, Premier of Ontario, tell us where they're gonna go. This
See,
this
I think he's more worried about safety, which is the safety of like, for community, which is
but that's not what he's
understandable.
saying.
I know that's not what he's saying, but yeah, but I'm just that's what's probably what he's thinking.
Okay,
But
but
at the same
again,
time, I understand what you're saying. At the same time,
yeah, again
where do
though,
you want them? What do you want them
I
to go?
I am not even questioning that there could be a safety concern, but at the same time, it's okay. You're concerned of a safety concern, so why don't you do something about it? Like when we had the encampment here in Ajax for a short time until they
Mhm,
got everybody out of there because they're building something there, to hopefully aid in that. Um,
mhm,
they had police presence there. So
mhm,
even though those people could be there, they could potentially have police presence there every day
mhm,
to make sure nothing is going to happen either to them in their community or people on outside of their community, both vice versa, right?
mhm,
Um, so there could be police presence there. So, but again, Doug Ford thinks this is ridiculous. I
mhm,
hear that maybe that could be a reason, but then elaborate. Is that the reason, or is it just the fact that you think that homeless people shouldn't be there?
mm,
And again, where do you want them to go? We have an increase of the homelessness in this, and at least in this province since COVID.
mhm,
So with that, where there's more people who are homeless, that means there's going to be more people who don't have somewhere to go. So where do you
true.
want them to go? I mean, again, like I've said it, it's was never a typical thing to see homeless people out and about in Ajax prior to COVID, and
Mhm,
now it's a thing. They're everywhere,
yeah,
and you have homeless people, begging for money at streetlights. That's something I never saw in Ajax. I was
and like
seeing that in Scarborough, but
yeah, we have talked about this before.
yeah,
It's don't get me wrong. Like I'm willing to help. I would like to help homeless. I like to donate. I love to, you know, give away food, give it back to the community. But you got to realize that if a homeless person wants help, they have to want it. You can't force them help. You cannot bring them um to help if they don't want it. It's gotta be on them, and if
but
they don't want
again, that's also under the assumption. Like, I'm not saying exactly what you're saying, but
Mhm,
that's also like when I hear anyone say something like that, that's under the assumption that these people are homeless because they chose it in some way, whether
oh,
it's
no, no, no,
drugs or
no, no,
alcohol or
no.
whatever.
Oh, no.
Most of the people we're seeing now and the increase of people
Mhm,
being homeless, this all happened during COVID because they're losing their jobs, they're not able to make their rent and stuff like
yes.
that. When you are down in the dumps, in a sense,
Okay.
with this type of situation, it is very hard to bounce back. So it's not that they don't want the help and they won't accept it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just how do you bounce back once you're in a situation like that?
Agree. Agree with
Right?
that. Okay, I agree with that. It's just like the I know, the other types of homeless, like the people that, but the ones that lost their jobs and etcetera, those are the one like, I know it's hard to look for a job because I've been trying to look for a job as much as possible, like,
It's
and it's
tough in this economy.
so Huh?
It's tough in this economy
Yeah, I'm looking for a
right now.
second job, but, I at this time, I'm trying to create jobs for myself, right? So, like, at the end of the day, um, um, it is tough because it's discouraging. Because every single time I try to look for a second job, it's always that, "Oh, I'm sorry, you don't fit this criteria at this time." And then the long list, and it just continues to happen, 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 and it's so discouraging to the point that you're so sick and tired of looking for a job to the point that you don't know what to do.
I get it.
And
That's something my
yeah,
brother deals
so
with as
yeah,
well.
you don't know
Um,
what to do and how to do it. Even there's a young kid at my work. I'm not gonna say explain what my work is, right? Because I don't
mm,
want to, get the people over there, riled up and etc. But there's a young kid, and he just says he just wants to work. He doesn't care what type of work he does, and his grandmother um is the one that because we're having just say an inventory at my workplace, has brought him in for a temporary summer work, and she does this like almost every single year, right, for him. And I think he's like he's 20. Yeah, he's 20. He's 20. Now. And she even says it's tough to look for jobs. It's tough. I'm just so happy that he's coming here and helping out with me and the other workers here. So like she even knows that it's tough for her grandson to look for a job. So like it's ridiculous. So I can imagine how uh other people who are getting evicted, etc., and then they're on the verge of being homeless, right, and can't find a job. So those types of people, I'm more a I feel sorry for as well. Uh, it's just the people who just have excuses and the lazy people and etc. That's why I don't those types of people. So I
yeah,
don't yeah any type of I don't feel sorry for those types of people. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And then we talked about the homeless that you know uh that that don't that need that if they want the help they ask for it. So you like in a way you kind of understand what Ford is going saying, but I understand what you're saying at the same time. So like, both sides can't be uh can be right. And yeah, that's all I'm just gonna say about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just a little history about this particular encampment. So the tents are located at 100 Victoria Street in Kitchener. It first went up in late 2021. The number of people living at the site has changed depending on the time of year. Currently, there are between 30 and 35 tents on site. The
Mhm,
region
mhm,
owns the property where the encampment is located and
mhm,
says it needs the land ahead of planned construction of the Kitchener Central Transit Hub. Vanessa Haynes has been living at the encampment on and off for the past 2 years. She
mm,
says she's happy with the court's decision, which will allow her and others to stay, but says there still needs to be community support to help those experiencing homelessness. Um, so
mhm,
yeah, but basically that's why all of this was happening because clearly they're going to be doing some form of construction in that area. And this court order has halted that from happening.
mm. I remember he was or was basically at a press conference and some heckler was basically saying like, "When are you going to help the homeless?" And then Ford responded like, "Well, they need to find a job first." I was like, "Wow,
Wow.
wow."
Ladies and gentlemen, our premiere. Like, seriously.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
ridiculous. So that's why, like, nothing's gonna change
Mhm,
for the homelessness. Like, clearly he has the thing is let's be very real. The Fords have come from some form of privilege. We talked about it when we did
mhm,
our episode on Doug and Rob Ford. They come from some form of privilege. Would I go as far as to say it's nepotism? and but they come from
Mhm.
privilege. And I
Mhm.
truly believe that Doug Ford probably believes that the homeless population is beneath him. That's probably why he doesn't give a shit, and that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I went to him saying that the
yeah.
ruling is ridiculous.
Mhm.
I take that as not so much the things you're saying, because what you're saying,
He's
I
a
can work with that if that's what he's
yeah,
saying.
yeah, he's a
But to
yeah, he's
me, it comes across as
mm,
they're beneath us and they shouldn't
mhm.
exist, and that's what it sounds like he's trying to say when he says what he said, because you're not elaborating on why you think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
And then
he's
what
a
are you
little
gonna do to make it better? Because this is your province. This is,
yeah,
you know, what can
yeah.
you do? You're not doing anything to make
Mhm.
it better. So,
Yeah, he's a little bit rough
yeah,
when it comes to homeless topics, so, like, yeah,
yeah.
it's not
That's why
yeah.
I think he thinks it's beneath
Mhm,
him, and they're, he probably thinks there's the things that we need to ignore. I personally think if we're talking Rob Ford, he would have handled this probably a little bit differently, because I think he actually truly freaking cared about, you know, his
mhm,
people. I don't think Doug Ford truly cares about his people. He cares more about the what it looks like for him to be a premier. Like, I, he cares more about the drama. That's what it feels like for me when it comes to him, instead of actually like doing the thing that makes a difference. Have I stood by him by certain things like the tariffs, for example? Sure. I think sometimes you do have to fight fire with fire.
mhm,
But I can also understand where I'm coming from is because I hate the Oompa Loompa and I want him to be scorched. But I
mhm,
also understand Mark Carney's kind of way of thinking of you can't always fight fire with fire. Sometimes you have to just douse that fire. So,
mm,
you know, that's the issue I have with Doug Ford, where it's like, you should be thinking that way. Let me douse this fire. Whereas I, as a person who doesn't have to think about that or think of the repercussions of any decision, I'm going to say fight fire with fire. It's your job
mm,
to be different. So, anyways, that's Rob Ford. That's that case. That was the situation.
right,
Um, Another one here that I thought was a quite interesting story and
mhm,
kind of shows the issue with not only the healthcare system in general, not our healthcare system, mind you, though.
mm,
This happened in Arkansas, but uh, just also women's health in general.
mhm,
So, an Arkansas woman, she was left hemorrhaging during a miscarriage, as doctors said, and I quote, "Our hands are tied due to an abortion ban." All right, guys, let's jump into that. So, just trigger warning for this is going to make you mad. So,
mm,
an Arkansas woman was left bleeding out while suffering a miscarriage after doctors were unable to properly treat her due to the state's strict abortion ban, according to a new report by ProPublica. So
mhm,
in September of 2024, Emily Waldorf, who is a 38-year-old from Fayetteville, Arkansas, was 17 weeks pregnant when her toddler found her curled up on the bathroom floor. She had been in the shower when she felt a strange pressure and started experiencing vaginal bleeding. After calling her husband, Justin, they dropped off their daughter and rushed to Washington Regional Hospital, where Waldorf worked as an acute care physical therapist.
mm,
Once there, she had an ultrasound and was told by a doctor, quote, "Your body's about to miscarry,"
mm,
according to the ProPublica report on her case.
right,
Wardolph was suffering a high-risk complication called premature rupture of membranes,
mhm,
and doctors said her uterus was exposed to bacteria. The
mm,
standard care, if we weren't dealing with an abortion ban, would be
mm,
to empty the womb, even if there is still a fetal heartbeat, due to the high risk of developing a life threatening infection. So essentially, unfortunately, she has no choice but
mhm,
to either let her body go through a with what's going on with her, she either has to let her body go through a natural miscarriage, or they have to
Uh-huh.
abort the baby, and this is for her safety. This is not
Uh-huh.
matter if she doesn't wanna have this baby. She wants
Uh-huh.
to clearly have this baby, but unfortunately, her body is, in a sense, rejecting this. So, in order to save her life, they have to abort the baby.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is the problem I have with this abortion ban. This is the
Uh-huh.
problem that I have with pro-lifers. You're
Uh-huh.
all about pro-life, meaning the life of what is technically not considered an alive child until a certain point of the pregnancy,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because they literally cannot survive outside of parent the mother's body until they are actually at a point, which is usually 25 weeks. They don't consider that like a person technically until they reach that point where they could survive outside of the mother's womb.
Mhm.
Okay. But because pro-lifers are more concerned about the life of a baby, what about the life of the mother
Mhm.
who is carrying that baby?
Hmm.
And this is the problem I have with pro-lifers. Li
Mhm.
I'm not saying that I'm necessarily pro-abortion.
Right.
No, I'm not, because again, it's for my own personal thing. Personal in the sense where I know for me, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't choose to do that.
Mhm.
Um, and again, as much as I can't stand Catholicism, that's something that's just been embedded into my mind. But at the same time, if you choose for yourself that this is something that you either A, can't do, can't handle, or
Mhm. Mhm.
you could die because of it, because you're
Mhm.
pregnant,
Mhm.
then yeah, go do what you gotta do. It's not my business. You're not hurting me.
Right.
You're not hurting me. As long as you're doing what is best for you, I could care less.
Hmm.
So that's where I've always stood since high school, where it's like,
Mhm.
I'm pro whatever the hell you need to do for you. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't speak for women's bodies, but like the
as
thing
you
is that
shouldn't. You wanna
yeah.
tell that to the men who banned the abortion back in the day,
uh,
so
but I am both pro-choice and pro-life, so like basically I understand.
yeah,
Uh,
that's kinda where I stand.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So like basically, you know, I'm not gonna like point fingers and and just basically what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? This
yeah,
is not the right thing to do
yeah.
with you
It's not my
and the person.
business.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not my
not.
business
Yeah,
what you're
it's
doing. You're not
yeah,
hurting me.
yeah.
Like, I'm
So yeah,
sorry, but, like, at the end of the
yeah.
day too, my pro-life head
Mm-hmm.
is more focused than anything on the life of the
Hmm.
person who is carrying that child.
Hmm.
If your life is at danger because of the either whether it's the child itself or
Hmm.
something going on within the ecosystem of your
Hmm.
womb, then
Hmm.
yeah, I'm pro-life, your life.
Right.
That's how I think.
100%.
And again, yeah, like, no, I don't think men necessarily should have a say in women's bodies and what we do with our bodies. However, I do think there are certain circumstances where you need to have a discussion with your partner.
Hmm.
If you to whatever the reason may be why you maybe want to have an abortion,
Hmm.
if it's financial reasons, if it's you just don't want another child, whatever the case is, or cases
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
this, that's a conversation that I think you should be having with a partner to an
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
However, I'm still at the spot where I'm like, you can have that conversation with him, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have the final say. Oh, you owe him a conversation, but you do not owe him the decision making. No, no.
Hmm.
Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, he's not the one who has to carry that child. You are.
Mhm.
So in a case like this, though, where this woman actually wants to have this baby by the sounds of
Mhm.
things,
Mhm.
this is not what she was
So
expecting to happen.
so basically, what I'm hearing is basically, I'm guessing that the father didn't want the baby and she wants a baby.
No, she wants the baby.
Okay. Alright.
She's experiencing a miscarriage. I haven't done the
Oh,
article yet, but
okay.
she's experiencing a
Makes sense, makes
miscarriage.
sense.
But
Right, okay.
because of the
See.
abortion laws and the states who have adapted said abortion laws,
Uh-huh.
um, even performing life-saving procedures
Mhm.
like aborting a baby, in
Mhm.
this case,
Mhm.
for her safety, they cannot do.
Hmm.
Even potentially performing like a DNC, which is something that happens post a miscarriage,
It's
I mean, they may not I mean, I think they can do that because there's no heartbeat anymore or
uh-huh.
there's no viable embryo anymore or
Yeah.
fetus. So they could do it in those circumstances, but as long as the fetus is viable, and in this case, the fetus appears to still be viable because she's experiencing the miscarriage, but it hasn't completed,
Mm.
she could die.
Right.
And this is like a case that I think I talked about an episode like this from Grey's Anatomy, where I don't know if it was a similar thing like this, but the woman had to have a miscarriage. It was life or death. She
Mm.
had to have it happen. If something happened along the way where I don't know exactly what it was or what the term, like what exactly was going to happen, but essentially her uterus or the baby, the set and uterus essentially exploded and she died from blood loss because she
Um,
had to travel from one state to Seattle because of the abortion ban,
hmm,
and she died along
hmm,
the way.
hmm,
Now that's a show. It's fictionalized. Problem is it's not truly fictionalized. It's based on things that has happened or could happen. And here is a real life case of where it could have happened, where she could have died
mhm,
because you have old ass white men making decisions for women's bodies. And this is why I get pissed off.
mhm,
This is why I will never get it. Why you, not all of you, but some of you, elected that man back into power who was feeding lines to people during debates on, oh, this or that about the abortion bans. Oh, yeah, I have no issues with people having
mhm,
abortions. We'll put it back in place. Where is it? Motherfucker, where is it? Instead, you're more concerned about transgenders and the fact that they can't have, you know,
mhm.
they can't transition
Right.
if they're underage.
Mhm,
Which, no matter where you stand with that,
mhm,
fine, but it's if I can say in the same vein of old ass white men shouldn't be making decisions for women's bodies, old ass white men shouldn't be making decisions about other people's children and what they decide to do for them. Because again, at the end of the day, it's not hurting you. So they have to live with that consequence.
mm,
If they decide later on down the road, oh, you know what? I think I was about that. Who's it hurting? It's not hurting anybody. So this
mhm,
is why I get so freaking upset,
mhm,
and because this should not happen. People should not be potentially losing their lives because of old ass white men who don't even have vaginas.
mm,
So,
mm.
anyways, let me get off my soapbox and let's finish the article.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go here. Um, so we talked about what she was dealing with,
Mhm,
this prom or whatever that's called, which it basically exposes the uterus to bacteria.
mhm,
So this is a basic opposite OB situation here. So maternal fetal medicine specialist this is at this. Her name is Dr. Allison Golding. She specializes in Texas. Funny enough, another state that has the abortion ban. But anyways, I digress. She told the outlet in the reference to a similar case in that state, quote, "Everyone should know that you have to provide an abortion in these settings or women can die." Now listen, this is something they can alter in the ban.
Uh-huh.
You wanna ban abortions? Not okay, but fine. But you can change the fact of, no abortions unless there's a life-threatening reason why you need to have it.
Uh-huh.
And you can easily state what those things are. That's a
Huh.
start. But
Uh-huh.
they're not even doing that. You're letting 'cause women don't mean shit to anybody. Let's be really real here, especially old ass white men. You could care less about women. So what's the women dying? What's the big deal? It's fine. Just women. We don't mean anything. And this is what again is just irritating.
Uh-huh.
It's like, so women's life isn't valuable?
Yeah.
You've proven that many times over.
Mhm.
It's okay, let me get back off my soapbox and let's keep going. However, Wolodoff's baby still had a detectable heartbeat, as I've mentioned, and the state's ban on abortion prevented her doctors from proceeding until that baby basically dies. The near total ban on abortion in Arkansas, enacted following the 2022 overturn of Roe versus Wade, states that doctors cannot perform the procedure unless the mother's life is deemed at risk. What more do you
Mhm.
need? She's hemorrhaging. She's at
Huh.
risk. Like, but okay. The law makes it a felony, punishable by a maximum prison sentence of 10 years, a maximum fine of $100,000, or both for a medical professional who performs an abortion. So this is the problem. Unless a doctor is willing to risk all of that, they're not going to do it. And I don't necessarily blame them.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to have to do a 10-year stint in a federal prison or have to pay $100,000, especially when, let's face it, if they're going to prison, they are losing their license. They're not going to be able to make that kind of money. So I get it,
Hmm.
but it just sucks.
Mm.
Doctors would need to wait until Wardolph went into labor on her own or showed signs of a life threatening infection or until there was no longer a fetal heartbeat. Quote, "Our hands are tied behind our backs," a doctor told her, according to a journal Wardolph shared with ProPublica. "Tell your friends to vote differently." Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. I agree. Washington Regional Hospital did not respond to people's request to comment. Waldorf spent 4 days in the hospital when she felt something heavy fall while using the bathroom.
Mhm.
Trigger warning for what I'm about to say here. It was a 3-inch blood clot and her water had broken. She had spent the entire morning watching amniotic fluid drain out of her, and there was little to no chance that the fetus would survive. I mean, once her water has broken, I mean, that's kind of it. And she's only 17 weeks pregnant, so the baby's not going to survive.
Mm.
However, there was a slight heartbeat, and doctors were still unable to induce labor as her risk of infection increased. Again,
Hmm.
if they're inducing labor,
Mhm.
how is that an abortion? It technically isn't.
Mhm.
But I guess because the fetus is only 17 weeks along and a baby at minimum needs to be at least 25 weeks,
Right.
I guess that's why. They know that this is not going to end well for the
Mhm.
baby,
Mhm.
so they
Mhm.
can't do it. But this just seems ridiculous when I hear you say induced labor. We can't do that, even though like that's not an abortion. But okay. Um. So the hospital also reportedly said they wouldn't provide an ambulance to transfer her nearly 4 hours to another hospital in Kansas where abortion is legal. They probably aren't legally allowed to do that. Waldorf and her family were outraged by the ordeal. Quote, "You don't sit around and wait for somebody to become septic, which can happen. You do whatever it takes to prevent them from becoming septic." No. This is
Mm.
what her father, Kenneth Rogers, who is a enterologist, told the outlet. If I don't do what's medically indicated in a potentially life-threatening situation, then I am liable for neglect. Why isn't this the same thing? Here's the
mm,
problem. The laws. That's why it's not the same thing.
mm,
It's inhumane, her mother, Linda Quattlebaum, said. I'm pro-life, but for the mother. And that's kind of what I was saying as well. Waldorf's sister, Elizabeth Rowe, came to visit and recalled Waldorf and Justin looking defeated in the hospital. Are they going to let me die?
mm,
Yeah. The answer to her question is yes. They will let you die before they kill your baby
mm,
because all women are is baby making machines. And that's all that matters to these freaking people who enacted the or overturned Roe versus Wade. Um, so just scrolling down here. Waldorf said she felt like a ticking time bomb after 5 days with no medical support. Officials at Washington Regional continuously said their decision hadn't changed as a fetal heartbeat remained present. However, they would now agree to transfer Waldorf to the University of Kansas hospital system, according to the report.
mm,
When Waldorf arrived at the Kansas hospital, she was given misoprostol, which induces labor. She and Justin then held their daughter for a moment as she died, which is it's heartbreaking because I can see that these were parents that obviously wanted this baby, but unfortunately, this is not how it turned out. And give them a fighting chance. And the other thing too is like if they potentially want to have another child, this is
mm,
what they want to do. You're risking that chance of ever happening for her. If she were to potentially lose her entire uterus or part of it or whatever, because you're just letting her literally
mm.
wait for her either her child to die or for her to die.
Right.
Um, Shortly after, Waldorf's placenta had trouble detaching, which again, she can still this is not something this happens during, labor anyways, but
Mhm, mhm,
um she could also go septic because of that too. Um Her blood pressures dropped and she started bleeding severely. She had to be taken into surgery and lost a liter of blood. That is a lot of blood.
mm,
Um, for those people who've watched Paradise, for example, that's on Hulu. Spoiler alert, skip ahead if you don't want to hear this, like 10 seconds. But
mhm,
this was a storyline where one of the characters gave birth. Her placenta hadn't detached and she died. So, in a situation where there's no medical support, that's what could happen.
mm,
So, anyways, doctors reportedly said she wouldn't have had life-threatening complications if she didn't have to wait for so long for treatment. According to ProPublica, doctors wrote in Waldorf's medical records that the induction was performed, quote, with the intent to preserve the life and health of the mother. They reportedly cited evidence of the high risk of sepsis and hemorrhage if the medical team waited to empty her uterus.
mm,
Um, while recovering from the medical complications and navigating grief, Waldorf said the experience was so traumatic that she resigned from her job, unable to work at Washington Regional without the memories of her time as a patient. Because remember, she worked at the hospital where she wasn't getting her treatment. Waldorf said has since joined a lawsuit with 5 other women who were allegedly denied care after the Arkansas abortion law, ProPublica reports. They hope to back the state's ban on the grounds that it violates the state's constitution. Quote, the thing is, people don't realize what kind of health care abortion is. Arkansas women are in danger. Anytime a friend tells me they're pregnant, I'm worried for them. This is
mhm,
what she said in a video by Abortion in America. How many more women has this happened to that we don't know about? A lot, I can imagine.
mm,
How many more women are going to die in our state because of these abortion bans? Unfortunately, it will happen and more. This can happen to anyone, and you shouldn't have to travel outside of your home state in order to receive health care. So yeah, that is that article.
Huh?
And yeah. Um Another one that I have is apparently, which I didn't know this was a thing, but they were actually talking about a Princess Diaries 3 being done. No one
Yeah.
knows Princess Diaries 2 was like 20 years ago.
Mm,
So, yeah, so
yeah. Not really excited for that, but okay.
well, I imagine you never really watched Princess Diaries?
No, not one or two.
Yeah, me, on the other hand, I did.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so the movie producer, Deborah Martin Chase, says The Princess 3 may finally be a reality. So apparently, this is something that was in talks and then maybe it wasn't going to happen, but now maybe it is going to happen.
Mm,
We'll see kind of what happens. Saying happen a lot. But I really truly think if Princess Diaries 3 does happen, it's because Devil Wears Prada 2 did. I think if
mm,
Devil Wears Prada 2 walked, so Princess Diaries could run.
mm.
That's just me. But we'll see if
Yeah.
that happens, but I'm loving the fact that we have, like, these movies from my childhood just kind of, like, coming back and, with The Mummy, with the original 3, and now potentially Princess Diaries 3. I mean, come on. Anyways,
Mm,
my last one that I'm gonna
mhm,
talk about here, which I think is very important,
mm,
and needs to be shouted from the rooftops. Ontario is about to reduce colon cancer screening age limit. Other provinces needs to follow if they're not already doing this. So,
mhm, mhm,
um, let me just go to. I guess I'll just read the article over here. So, a 42-year-old woman named Ashley Wiley helps her two daughters get ready for their dance recital um, in their Toronto home. And she thinks about how she might not have been alive to enjoy these precious moments if she hadn't pushed her doctor to get screened for colon cancer only a year ago. Um, because again, I believe she's 40. Yeah, she's 42. So I'm not sure when. I think the colon cancer screening doesn't start until 50, I think. Um,
huh,
so yeah, so Wiley says that she had been experiencing blood in her stool for roughly 5 years, but chalked it up to a post-pregnancy symptom. But after it persisted for much longer than expected after giving birth, she decided to ask her doctor about it, who she says didn't offer a colorectal screening test as the primary option until she pushed for it in April of 2024. Quote, I was continuing to have bleeding in my stool, so I asked for a colonoscopy.
mm,
And it's because I was so far from 50, it
mhm,
wasn't in front of my mind for my doctor to do a colonoscopy. I said, should we not do something more? Duh. Is there not another exam or should we not do a colonoscopy or something?
mm,
Wiley said after she got a date for a colonoscopy, she called back to her doctor's office to ask for an earlier date. Quote, I felt heard once I pushed. It wasn't the first thing that was offered. I felt if I was closer to 50, it might have been offered more readily.
mm,
So Ontario announced that on July 1st, so it's currently happened. It will become the second province in Canada to lower the eligibility age for colon cancer screening to 45 years,
mhm,
joining Prince Edward Island. Most other provinces and territories currently offer publicly funded screening beginning at age 50, while Ontario is also lowering the eligibility age for those at increased risk to 40. So
mm,
Wiley was 41 when she
mhm,
was first diagnosed,
mhm,
and is now joining the chorus of voices pushing for other provinces to lower the age limit across the country and even lower so that people like her won't have to resort to pushing their practitioners for screening
mhm,
and waiting long periods because their age bracket is not as much of a priority as those who are 50 and older. Which I think this is good because I see like this is happening. Maybe it does need to be a bit lower. Um, but we're also seeing that with breast cancer screening as well, where they have lowered, because it again was 50. They've actually lowered, I believe it's now lowered to 40.
mhm,
So like someone, I can start doing screenings in, 5 years,
Mhm.
which again, I feel like I mean, there's always other signs of potential like for her, she had the blood in her stool, which is a sign, obviously. They tell you this all the time, that if you have blood in your stool like that, like, something's going on. Um, and but yeah, like, even though, like, that's a symptom, they were like, "Oh, well, you're
Mm,
fine." Like, It's like, "No, that's not normal." But again, I think of that as a woman where it's like, oh, you see blood in your stool potentially, or you're seeing, blood in your urine or stuff like that. It's like, well, I'm a woman. What's concern? What's not concern? And luckily, she was able to kind of be like, no, something's going on, and she pushed, and that's our healthcare system. You have to advocate for yourself.
mhm.
When you think something's going on, that's what I did. Because I mean,
You
TMI.
have to. You have to.
TMI for what I'm about to say, but I think it's an important thing. I remember my mom, this was 10 years ago, where she just kind of was looking at me and she's like, one one of my breasts is exceptionally larger than the other one. Like that's normal where one boob is bigger than the other. That's not abnormal at all, but mine is noticeable, which I think is not so normal. So, I had to push to be like, "I wanna get this checked out to make sure there's nothing going on."
Mhm,
Um, I was supposed to get a mammogram, I didn't because there was a risk that I could have been pregnant, so I
mhm,
didn't do that, but I
mhm,
did an ultrasound instead, but at least I did that, and they could still see something in case there was anything to see because a large a larger boob versus another could potentially mean breast cancer. So,
mm,
you have to advocate for yourself to make sure like you're okay. And it's unfortunate we have these age brackets for stuff like this where it's like anyone can get colorectal cancer. We've seen it. We've seen people dying from it.
mhm.
James Vanderbeek just died from it. There's other celebrities that have had it and died from it. Um,
Right.
and again, that's just the celebrities. Imagine the normal people that are
Mhm,
getting this
mhm.
disease and dying from it. It's the leading cause of death. It's
Yep.
colorectal cancer.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep.
anyway, that was my last one.
All right.
Do you
Okay.
have anything?
No, that's
Anything
it for
else?
me. That's it for me for on this episode. Um, yeah, pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Um, when are we on next, Tanika?
We're on tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Peace, guys.
Bye. Hi, everyone. And I have a few articles. So, Grandview Kids in Ajax opens a new anesthesia clinic to support Botox treatments for medically complex children. So, Grandview Kids parent I think it's Valentino, has been anticipating the opening of a new clinic at the Ajax based Children's Treatment Center. Her 10-year-old son, who lives with cerebral palsy, has needed up to 16, I think it's a botulinum toxin, Botox, injections in his legs without sedation every 4 to 6 months since he was 4 years old. She said the treatments are essential to manage his pain and support his independence. Quote, each visit is difficult, heightening his anxiety and fear. As a parent, it is heartbreaking to watch him cry and struggle through every procedure. She said the only alternative has been hospital sedation, but for a medically complex child with a long history of hospitalizations, it only deepened her son's white coat anxiety. But it's about to change. Thanks to $1 million in community donations through the Lake Ridge Health Foundation, Grandview Kids and Lake Ridge Health have opened the Grandview Anesthesia Procedure Gap Clinic at Grandview Kids Headquarters, the Jerry Coughlin Building. The GAP clinic is the first of its kind in Canada and provides anesthesia-assisted care in a familiar, friendly environment close to home for clients at Grandview Kids, Durham Region's only children's care facility. Quote, by bringing anesthesia-supported procedures into a child-friendly setting, this clinic will help ease what can be a very difficult experience for families, said by Lake Ridge Health President and CEO Cynthia Davis. The GAP clinic now supports children and youth receiving Botox injections to treat spasticity or dystonia caused by conditions such as cerebral palsy. As many clients require multiple injections during a single visit, anesthesia reduces discomfort and improves the overall experience. Quote, the launch of the GAP clinic is truly life-changing for families like ours, Valencino said. It offers a safer, more compassionate option that prioritizes children's comfort. Grandview Kids CEO Tom McHugh said the Ajax-based headquarters was purpose-built to offer an advanced procedure room that supports anesthesia-assisted care for children and youth. We are proud to watch the space reach its full potential less than 18 months 18 months after the Jerry Coughlin building opened its doors. Before the GAP clinic was introduced, Grandview Kids clients requiring anesthesia for Botox injections were referred to Lake Ridge Health Oshawa and treated in an operating room. Now, care will be delivered in one place, from consultation to delivery, eliminating the need for hospital visits and minimizing stress, anxiety, and travel for families. The GAP clinic fills a critical gap in access to medical care for children and youth with complex physical needs, said Dr. Carolyn Hunt, who is the medical director and executive lead of medical services at Grandview Kids. The GAP clinic demonstrates what integrated, inclusive medical care looks like. And that sounds great. And that's the end of that article. Let's move on to the next one. This is a quick one. For my true crime people, we have another death involved in the O.J. Simpson murder trial. Except there was nothing better than the actual person in the forefront. But anyways, Mark Furman, who was the former LA police detective convicted of lying during O.J. Simpson murder trial, has now died himself. Now, if you don't know the history of this person, we're about to get into it. Former Los Angeles police detective Mark Furman, who was convicted of lying during testimony at the O.J. Simpson murder trial, has died. He was 74. Furman was one of the first two police detectives sent to investigate the 1994 killings of Simpson's ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman in Los Angeles. He reported finding a bloody glove at Simpson's home, but his credibility came under attack during the trial as the defense raised the prospect of racial bias. Under cross-examination, Furman testified that he had never made anti-Black racial slurs in the past decade, but a recording showed he had done so repeatedly. Lynn Espedo, the chief deputy coroner in Kootenai County, Idaho, said that Furman died May 12th. The county does not release the cause of death as a rule. Alan Dershowitz, who was a prominent lawyer and law professor who was a legal strategist on Simpson's defense dream team, said Furman was a much better detective than he was a witness. Quote, he's very smart and, a very, very aggressive detective. Ultimately, his actions helped us win the OJ case because of his use of the N-word, Dershowitz said. I got to know him later after it was all over, and we had a cordial relationship. Furman retired from the Los Angeles Police Department after Simpson's 1995 acquittal. He subsequently moved to Idaho with his family and set up a 20-acre or 8-hectare farm, raising chickens, goats, sheep, and llamas. In 1996, Furman was charged with perjury and pleaded no contest. He later became a TV and radio commentator and wrote the book Murder in Brentwood about the killings. A criminal court jury found Simpson, a former star, NFL running back and actor, not guilty, as we know, because if it doesn't fit, you must acquit, right? Of murder in 1995, but a separate civil trial jury found him liable in 1997 for the deaths and ordered him to pay $33.5 million to the relatives of Brown and Goldman. He served 9 years in prison on unrelated charges and died in Las Vegas of prostate cancer in 2024 at the age of 76. Didn't happen to a better person. Furman's father left when he was 7 years old, and Furman often cared for his younger brother while his mother worked. As an adult, he joined the Marines and then the Los Angeles Police Department. I mean, may you rest in peace. I'll give you at least that, even if you potentially were a racist asshole. But yeah, that's that article. For the final one that I'm going to go through today with you guys, we're talking here about Project Jet Setter, which was a Durham police arrested 46 and identified 164 suspects in an expansive criminal tourism probe. So, Durham police say a sweeping years-long investigation into criminal tourism has uncovered more than 200 offenses, millions in losses, and organized groups traveling to Canada, in particular to commit high-profile profit crimes across the GTA. So this was back in June. Project Jetsetter brings together 9 major investigations led by the DRPS Financial Crimes Unit involving $2.61 million in confirmed losses in Durham region. Police say the offenders are part of organized, internationally connected networks that enter Canada with the sole purpose of carrying out coordinated crimes. According to the DRPS, the investigations revealed a broad range of structured, repeatable schemes designed to maximize profit, including large-scale retail theft, coordinated groups targeting high-value merchandise, vehicle purchasing scams, vehicle financing fraud, staged collisions used to defraud insurance companies, jewelry distraction thefts, often targeting seniors, and theft and the exportation of vehicles. Police say distraction-based jewelry thefts, in particular, have surged, with suspects approaching victims, often seniors, under the guise of offering help or gifts, then removing necklaces, bracelets, or rings. Kind of sounds like the Sticky Bandits. Yeah, anyways, that is that article. And that is it for me here. If you liked what you heard with our podcast, you can head on over to our website, which is solo.to/next take podcast. There you can get any of the links to any of our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Take Pod. You can also find links to our Reddit page and many other things, I'm sure. Can't remember all off the top of my head. You can also email us at mikeltanyka@gmail.com. There you can send us any inquiries you have, any questions, or also any episode ideas. And if you do have episode ideas, just make sure you put in the subject line episode ideas, and we'll add it to our list. If you also liked us, you can like us, rate us, follow us on any of your favorite podcast apps. You can rate us, however, on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We would greatly appreciate that. And we'll also move forward and share or spot a light on those who give us 5-star ratings in the future. That is it for us. We'll see you next time for the episode.